I just wanted to say the Konengi IG is selling a notion out there that I just want to correct concerning this taxation. They are saying that we are taxing our poor people, adding on to the suffering that they are going back home. We are not
Yeah.
taxing the common Ambazonian out there to pay any tax. So if anybody come knocking on your door that you have to pay some kind of tax, it is not from us. We are looking at those big companies, foreign companies in Ambazonia. Then, your question, you also said we arrested an Ambazonian or something. You quoted something like that. I've forgotten what you really quoted, but you were talking about the arrest we made concerning this taxation.
This tax, yeah, no, I don't know if it was an
Yes,
Ambazonian. I just heard it was
yes,
there was an arrest made.
yeah. We did not arrest that guy like an individual, like a person or like something. We're targeting an institution, that company, that foreign company that is being represented in Ambazonia by him. And unfortunately, he's an Ambazonian, but we did not even care Ambazonian or what. We're looking at that institution. Even by the time of the arrest, we didn't look at is it Ambazonian or what. So people should not say we are getting into citizens and uh, uh, terrorizing them for taxes and all whatnot, like some people are trying to sell. We are not asking any Ambazonian to pay us any tax. That's what I just wanted to correct.
So you are one of those that stood firm from the beginning, that creating a government will be the worst thing that ever happened in a revolution. You even said that the government will split into three or more parts, and we are seeing that happening today. So, looking at what is happening, currently happening in the IG, are you like, yes, I said this, I said this, I said this, I said this? Are you nodding your head?
My dear sister, there is nothing to be proud over. No, there is nothing to not hate over, because if I'm doing that, I'm doing that at the expense of thousands of Ambazonians who are lying in their early graves because of this madness that was created to us by an unknown people that just dived in to a revolution with no track records. Let me say that. And when I say when I say with no track record, it's not like I am boasting because I had one or because I know those who had one. It is something we have lived in. It is something that is demanded everywhere. Even you are going for an interview for a job, they always ask you your track record, right? Longevity in service, they always ask you your experience, they always ask you, right? When you have all of those things, you have the more opportunity to be recruited in whatever discipline you were applying for, except for some kind of this Amazonian revolution with those people who just came in 2016 who don't care about track record or whatsoever. Yeah, I stood firm during the third conclave when they wanted to organize this madness called government, and I stood firm because I had we had passed through this. The SCNC was a very strong movement, but it started dwindling, like being shattered into pieces, when some people in the thought the SNC was ripe enough to create what they called an interim government. Some of us have never been in the government side, even in the days of the SCNC. Some of us said no, that will not happen. And one faction said yes, that will happen. They left us, created a government, and that government split into second, third, fourth government, and all of them fighting among themselves and fighting also now the mainstream SCNC group. So it shattered the SCNC and made us very, very weak. From a very strong position that we had, we became very, very weak, like maybe people without white blood cells. Then we came in a meeting that we held in Boya. We came to a conclusion that this will never happen again. Never in any time in this revolution should we ever think of forming a government except in Boya. That was what we accepted. And I told these guys in Nigeria that forming a government will shatter us into pieces that we had seen this before in the days of the SCNC. The response was how many of us were in the SCNC days. That now there are many of them, and they introduce themselves, Doctor this, Doctor that, Doctor this, Doctor that. They are all on board, and that they are going to form a government. And I should not think that they will make the same mistakes that we made during the days of the SCNC. That was what they told me. Secondly, I told them, I said, if you want to form a government, we have to form a government if only we have a country that is ready to protect that government. I was told by Dr. Asibong Patrick, I think yeah, that's his name. I was told by him and I've just forgotten their names, that Nigeria is just waiting for us to create this government, and Nigeria is going to recognize the government. That one of them created so award in Nigeria. There's another doctor that was sitting there. They said he can go to Aso Rock, that's the presidential house of Nigeria, without even seeking for an appointment. He just say he's the one to allow him. They gave me all type of sweet talks, but I've heard all those type of talks before. So I told them that. Secondly, all of us sitting in this group, we are the Ambazonian people choose us to be here because they are having their confidence on us, and we should not betray the confidence of the Ambazonian people because we don't want to learn from history. That we have to form a council, a revolutionary council with all the different factions present in this hall, present in that council or represented in that council, and then we form a one united and strong military called the Amazonian Defense Forces. At this time, when I was saying this, I had already opened a camp in Dadi, but I told them that this is what we should do, and that revolutionary council will then take over the military unit that we are going to create. They said we do not need a war at this time, that the B are the most strongest military in the whole of Central Africa. They are being trained by Israel, supplied by America. Do you think you can do this? In fact, they call me a warlord, all type of name. They bash me. And I told them that when you create a government in a revolution, automatically you create an opposition without knowing. And creating an opposition in a revolution as sensitive as us is something nobody who loves Ambazonia should pray that it should happen in Ambazonia. They did not listen. They did not listen. They went ahead and created their government, and they voted. I did not vote. I told them that we are not going to vote. The Ambazonian Governing Council is not going to partake in this sham. And I told them that they are scamming the Ambazonian people and playing over the intelligence of the Ambazonian people. So I was expelled from the meeting. They kicked me out of the meeting and asked me not to attend again. Until today, I still hold that same view that it was the worst thing. There are two things that happened in this revolution that slowed this revolution down. First was the creation of this thing they called the government. It was something that would never have been done. Even their own lawyer that they spent how many thousands of euros, the Folly Hawk lawyer advised them
Yeah.
that do not do this. They didn't listen. They didn't listen. They went ahead and created this madness because they wanted firm or whatsoever. They just wanted to create something similar to what Cameroon have. They've been ruled by a government for so long that they immediately wanted to have theirs, even without, they wanted to take the second step before the first. I would say that. So they created this sham that we are in. And the second dangerous thing that happened to this revolution is, I think, on the government, I blame Julius Ayoktabe. And the second thing I blamed, how they call this young man, Eric Tato. It is this introduction of county by county that scattered, that it divided an already divided people into villages. La Republic successfully divided us into Northwest and Southwest. We struggled and we were uniting and seeing each other as brothers and sisters. But this guy came in and divided us to villages by villages. If you are not from here, get out of this place. If you are not from there, get out of this place. How do we win a war? We have a common enemy that is united from the north right down to Bafusam. From Douala right up to Edea. United. Then we have to divide ourselves into villages by villages, and yet we think we can be united again to win a war. That and these JJCs, they came in and they just scattered everything. They never learned no, they never read any revolutionary book. They do not learn from history. In fact, they just looked at the now, the fanfare of the now. Like they said,
Yeah.
they
I'm
have
proud of the now.
thousands of people following them. Yeah, many thousands of people following them, and these thousands of people can be following you. But if you are a sheep, you lead them into a hole. And look at where we are today. It is not something to be happy over because guys have died. I cried in all my live shows telling them that this thing is not working. Many people were not listening. When I told them Sako is living on a salary from this my trip to Boya and my citizens levy, their houses are being paid by this and that. Who listened to me?
And
Nobody.
I think a lot of people have come to realize the mistake that they made with regards to this government thing. I know of people that,
Doctor, doctor, realizing mistakes is one thing, but moving a step positive from that realization is another thing. Yes,
right.
many Ambazonians have realized that mistakes, but they are too lazy to move to positivity. They are too lazy to move forward because the only
Do
door forward
you,
is
do you
that door
think
that is castigated.
do you think it's laziness or fear? Fear that maybe we realize that this was bad. Maybe we don't want to, so it might be fear and not necessarily laziness, right?
It is not fear. It is madness that is mixed with drunkenness and stupidity. In fact, there is no word. There is no word because if you are looking at your liberty, you see a python and you think that you are drowning and that python, if you hang on that python, it can ferry you across the river. What do? You hang on that python, right? And try to go across the river. When you arrive at the shore, you can then now look at, hey, what was I holding? This is a python. Maybe you try to kill it.
That
If you are
analysis,
if you
wow.
are too evil, you try to kill it. But you are already at the safe zone. What is wrong with Ambazonians is that they are looking at a figure, somebody called Dr. Cho Ayaba, as a python because they have seen that they are in a sinking boat and the only savior that they can step into to go ashore or to go offshore, is it ashore or offshore? Or to go to the to go to land
Offshore,
in
yeah.
offshore, yes, is stepping on Dr. Cho Ayaba's boat. They have realized that they are sinking, but they don't want to step in. They want to die, or they want to make sure that they struggle to to patch an already sinking boat with chewing gum, right? Trying to chew chewing gum. Let's chew many and we patch instead of jumping there. Let us patch this boat that we're inside. But as they are struggling to patch their boat with chewing gum, Dr. Cho Ayaba's boat is giving gap. Before they was try to jump, it might have gone further. So I'm just asking people, you should not join, you should not jump onto the boat of Dr. Cho Ayaba because you love Dr. Cho Ayaba. You have to only jump into it because you want to stay alive. When we arrive on the land, if you want to kill Dr. Cho Ayaba that time, you can kill him because you hated him. If you are too evil, you can do that. But now try to survive. Try to survive. And the only boat that lead you to that safety is that one that you had been castigating, throwing stones at. Don't be ashamed. Don't be ashamed to move. to safety. So that's what I can preach to these guys, and to those who still hold on that they must be a government. They should ask themselves, where in history has a government freed a people?
Right.
Let me tell you, doctor, uh, independent countries only run governments because there's no better way. If not, no country will have a government. They only use run governments because there is no other option. Governments do not work for the people, they eat from the people. That's why you see there's embezzlement, there is corruption, even in independent countries. You are still fighting for your own freedom, and you want to create a government. You know, it is one of the most stupid thing that I can ever think of. There is just no reason why Ambazonians should want to create a government at this level. Call it the interim government or call it whatsoever government. There is just no reason why that should be done. There is no country yet on earth that was freed by a government. You either had they call their freedom leader a rebel before at the end they start glorifying him, or you hear they form revolutionary councils and they free the people. They don't go with the notion of government, except they already have a chunk of land, that is controlled by them. They can then form their government and then go ahead. Or except they have a safety, they have a land somewhere, a country somewhere that's ready to protect that government. Then they can form a government in such an area of safety where that government can be then giving political command to the military unit that is in ground zero fighting. But Amazonians do not have that. But you cannot have a government in space, and it will be very difficult for any diplomat to receive or listen to the Ambazonian people if he knows that the person coming to or asking for this audience calls himself a president. Because once that diplomat accepts that president, it is the first of recognition,
Yes,
because they
absolutely.
will use it for PR. But if that person say, I am the leader of this revolution movement, this, any diplomat can receive that leader just to listen.
So I want you to repeat what you just said slowly, especially when what you said about recognition, diplomacy, president. I want you to say that slowly so that the people listening will actually understand what you're saying. It's absolutely 100% important.
Yeah, so what you are the talk now say, Abu?
Yes.
When we form like a government now, so for this condition wo dey, diplomacy na a very big globe will be very very pregnant, where the fit move plenty things them for inside. So before any diplomat like president for some country or prime minister for some country, he want accept say yes, this person don't talk say he want see me, say make he can see, make he for ask and say who be this person. If he hear say this person na president for some country where he dey fight for your independence, he no go green for receive that person. Because once we he green for receive that person, we know say the person they call himself a president for some country where he dey fight
We don't need-
for freedom, they go turn him out like say he don't recognize that president. Because once you accept he come, you don't recognize he, you Christ
So what?
or how you answer it.
So that statement is key. But I also want to ask, Witty, you could talk about. I think I know. So this is off of the top of my head. I don't remember who he met, but
Go ahead.
Sekou had met somebody in Boston. I think it was like a city councilor or so, what was it? Like a mayor in Boston. Do you
Who
remember
met
that?
who
Comrade
met them?
Siseko. So Comrade Siseko had come some time back before. I think that was even prior to him going to Nigeria and being arrested or kidnapped. He had met some. I don't know if it was some representative or something, somebody in
I will
Boston.
not. Well, I cannot say for sure if I heard of something like that. But
Okay.
then was he because he was first of all the chairman of the governing council before they made him president.
Mhm.
As the chairman of
Oh,
the
okay.
governing council, it is easy because he will introduce himself as the chairman of the governing council of Ambazonia, as they were calling him at that time. It will be
At that
easy.
time.
But when he
Okay.
says he's the president of Ambazonia, the guy goes on his map or his Google, president of Ambazonia, and he starts seeing that there is a lot of history behind it. He will not accept that audience.
Hadn't Sako
But
gone somewhere in Mexico or Brazil, somewhere in the South America to meet up with some
I'm,
people?
I made a mayor. Who is a mayor? You can anybody can meet a mayor, and we do not know on what capacity,
He
but
presented
anybody
himself.
can meet a mayor. Yes, anybody can meet a mayor. But I'm talking of a diplomat with high esteem who can shake the balance, who can do something. It is difficult for you to meet that person calling yourself a president that you are not a president.
Right.
Yeah, it is difficult. But you calling yourself the leader of the Ambazonian War, you calling yourself the chairman of the Ambazonian War, or the president of the Ambazonian Governing Council, which you already say it is a group, not
Group.
not the president of Ambazonia. You can do that,
Yeah.
but but just know it is very difficult. There are some technicalities that have delayed us because of this madness. Very, very
So,
much delayed us.
so I've never thought of that. But the moment you said it, it clicked. Because thinking about it, even the especially if you are, if you understand the diplomatic world, right, and politics out here, you cannot, for no reason, go out there and present yourself as the president of a country that has not been recognized,
No,
and you
you
think
cannot.
that you're going to be accepted into the circle of, so when you said it, it clicked, and that's why I wanted you to repeat it so that people can actually understand. And I'm glad you did in pidgin as
Yeah,
well.
you see, like I'm telling you, the type of people that Dr. Cho Ayaba have met and talked with. If you give Sako calling himself president for 50 years, he will not. He will not sit with those
Yeah.
people. They will not even accept his invitation or his application for an audience. They will not even accept it because it
Yeah.
doesn't work like that. Because once the people come in and go out, they turn it to a different thing. It's a PR that will make your country start asking you questions. When you were meeting with this person, who did you think you were meeting with? All those type of things. But you are, if you are a chairman, the president of a group, and all those type of things, you can do that. But the president of a country that is not existing yet, or that is not yet
Absolutely.
accepted yet, it doesn't work like that. So we shot ourselves 2 times on the leg and even took the bullet again right up to our ribs and shot ourselves again into it just because we were hateful. And I do not blame Ambazonia. It's like it is a black problem because it has happened so many where in black Africa where the true leader is being castigated and maybe even killed, and only after he's dead, then the people start celebrating him and making memorials on his behalf. You look Thomas
Yeah.
Sankara, you look at Congo Kinshasa, Patrice Lumumba. It
Let's
happens.
compare. Yeah.
Yeah, Brett Compaore.
So,
Yeah.
so this is the last. I know I said that was the last question, but because I'm too petty, I'm petty. Just sometimes I'm
That,
that
that,
petty.
that's Antaricon people. So
Yes. So because I'm too petty, I'm gonna ask you this question. And it's not really a question per se. It's a comment, and if you want to add something, so about this person who said, "Na caterpillar go move me for here," and with all the craziness that is going on, and with whatever group or whatever he has, I think he's trying to form a group, if I'm not mistaken. And forgive me if I'm not paying attention to some of this crazy.
mm,
What tell me what you think about all this, all that.
You know, one thing with me, Comrade Abu, is that
Oh, and I wanted to
I'm not,
mention,
yes,
I wanted to add that, he said na caterpillar go move me for year, but now some woman move me for days. So just wanted to put that in. I'm that petty. Yes. Go ahead. Sorry.
yes. I am not a diplomat. I do not really want involve myself in diplomacy. So I always call names. You are talking about Chris Anu. Chris Anu is one of the worst person to have been born as an Ambazonian. If they call shit, then you have Pastor Eguayang as shit, you have Iringwa as shita, you have how do they call the other one, Sako as she,
Hey.
and they have Chris Ano as she test.
Yeah.
That's
The
yeah.
worst of all.
Chris Ano is the worst thing that has ever happened in Ambazonia. Why I'm saying so is because he used to be my friend before when he was running the Cameroon Journal. I that time he was not in the IG stuff. He was just running his Cameroon Journal, and I started advising him to stop using that word Cameroon Journal. It should be Ambazonia Journal. So we're talking. I used to send him information concerning the ADF, and what things that are happening in the revolution, and he was publishing until when he became this thing that he became very vicious. When I stopped listening to Chris Anu, or I started seeing him with a lot of uh, poison in my soul, like that of a black mamba, was when he sold the I've Been Brief team in Nigeria. And I came out, I said it on Facebook, I cried, I showed all the evidence and everything. Many people did not listen. It is now that he is doing what he is doing now, that those who love Sako, they are coming back to tell me that what you were saying was true. Oh, this is, in fact, I hate hypocrisy. And that is the game Amazonians are playing. They only come out with the truth when that person start talking against the person they like. Then they come out now saying that this is the truth, this happened, I knew they, or they start leaking out audios. But when people are dying in ground zero and these guys are eating fat and doing what they are doing, and some of us are crying, they join these people to abuse us until when it touches them. That is what makes this struggle so very confusing to so many people.
Yeah.
You see, this guy they call Chris Anu, he cannot be in the same room with me. He can never be in the same country with me. I can forgive maybe Sako, but not this guy. Not this guy. Because the guys I worked with, the guys I toiled with, the guys I fought with were sold by this guy.
By him. Right.
Yes. Even those who arrested them in Nigeria told them that look, we in Nigeria, the Nigerian, we do not have a problem with your war. In fact, we are supporting you guys because we all speak the same language. We had been together before. The people that are having this problem are a government in place. It is the government in place that do not like you people, not us. We are just following orders. But even in your own midst, you people hate yourself. Do you know anybody called Chris Anu? That is why during their interview, sometime there in Nigeria before they carried them to Konengi. Do you know anybody called Chris Anu? And they said yes. He said that is the person that has led you to this. And before they arrested them, I had
And that was the
um,
38. Was it the 38? How many boys did they arrest?
the guy. No, there were 11. One girl and a baby
Oh.
of about
Oh
7
yeah.
months or
Okay.
so.
Okay.
Yes,
Yeah. I think I'm confused.
yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, before they arrested them, the person who was hosting them sent two numbers to my phone and said this number called me, this other number called me, and then are these guys working with you people? Then I looked at the number when they had arrested them because I didn't see the SMS when she sent it on WhatsApp. So I looked at it only after they have been arrested. When somebody told me that Chris Ano is writing on Facebook that they've arrested some AGOVC guys in Nigeria, I said, no, which AGOFC guys in Nigeria? I went to Chris Arnold's page, I saw it there, and then I opened my number to try to call them, and I saw that they sent two numbers to me. I listened to the voice message, said this person called. One number I recognized was that of this guy they call Ashu Kingsley. Ashu Kingsley, and he
Mhm.
calls himself Ashu Kingsley and Prophet or
Prophet
State Prophet or
something.
something like that. Yes, Ashu Kingsley. So I called Ashu Kingsley. I said, look, did you call this and this number, and you were asking where ADF was having a meeting? He said, yes, but I called you also trying to find out if you people were having a meeting somewhere in Calabar. And you said, no, you people don't have any meeting in Calabar. I said, okay, I dropped. The second number that the woman gave and the name that was on it, I did not recognize that name. It was a certain, was it Philip something? So I started dialing the number and it was giving me suggestions. When you're dialing a number, it's giving you suggestions, and it ended.
Right. Yeah.
Yes, it ended with only Chris Arnold's name. So I kept on going until the final number, still Chris Arnold. I called Chris Arnold. I said, Chris, say yeah. I said, look, did you call this certain person in Nigeria? Did this? Chris Arnold refused. He had never called that number till today. I said, okay, then where did this person get your number? And you gave this name. He refused. He didn't answer. So after that, I dropped 7 minutes, and Chris Arnold was the first to know that these guys were
No.
arrested in
Right.
Nigeria, which means you, the informant, you are tapping to follow up if the job has been done, and then they reported back to you that it has been done, and he just went to Facebook. When then I think 4 hours after I was reading him on Facebook, he said he's coming up live in the evening to tell the
Mhm.
people more about the arrest of the guys in Nigeria. And I called him. I said, "Look, Bo, these guys are AGOFC guys. They're AGOFC humanitarian guys. Please do not say anything about them because you don't know the story they are giving in there or the names they are using." He said, "No, that I cannot tell him what to do or not to do." And then I said, "Is this what he's telling me?" And knowing that he is involved in the whole of this thing, he just became very angry and told me that anybody not working for the government is against the state, you know. And before then, this guy they call Pastor, is it Pastor what? Bishop, this other iguana,
I
Bishop
don't know
John.
those.
All of them are pastors and Bishop John.
Oh, that's
He had
yeah, the
called
person with the drones.
Yes, he had called these
Okay.
guys and were telling these guys that these guys will have to work with the government. That they are working with Dr. Cho, and Dr. Cho is an individual that they should come and work for the government. The guys refuse, and that is how they set up these guys to where they are today. And when Chris Ano comes and talking and ejaculating like a dog that is on heat, you think that this guy is a prophet. These are devils. All this pastor nonsense thing. In fact, Abu Fri, we should not get there. I'm
Yeah.
getting already very
Yeah.
angry.
Yeah. No, I think. I think and one of the things that from the beginning, I was like, this is a no for me. You cannot have people calling themselves leaders and they go out there and they tarnish the image of others. They find ways to destroy the work that others are putting into, the liberation struggle, or they are involved. Like the moment you hear that somebody is involved in the killing of fighters on ground zero, I don't care if it is true or if it is a lie, how many of them? That was just total a no, no, no. So there are certain things that our people have
No,
ignored
you see,
for a
you
long
see,
time.
that's why I said the revolution is taking shape. Since they started this,
Yeah,
their collapse. Have you heard that Ambazonian soldier is pointing a gun on another Ambazonian
right.
soldier? Have
Absolutely
Have you
not.
heard that unity is that's trying to stop unity in ground zero? No. So you
No,
know that
no.
they knew that defense was the way to go, and they refused it in the first place. Now they knew
Right.
that if they allowed defense only for ADF, Ambazonians would turn and support the ADF. The problem was to quell the ADF and be the only group. They were not looking at how to free people, how to free the
Mhm.
country. They only wanted to stay aloof. And to stay
Yeah. So
aloof, they needed to take back all the guns that we have spent money. to buy. They needed to corrupt all the guys that we have taken risk to go
Mhm.
to places and train. They needed to make sure that they paint us black, polish us with the type of polish that do not suit our faces by
Yeah.
creating all type of corrupt narrative against us. That was what they were meant to do. And that is why I told them that when you form a government in a revolution, you automatically form an opposition. And you will spend your time, money, and energy fighting the group you think it is your opposition rather than fighting the main enemy. And they spent all their
Right.
time, money, and energy trying to kill the ADF. If these guys had spent the monies they had on arms, looking forward for La Republic of Cameroon, in fact, ADF would not have been existing. But they spent the money on bribery, on corruption, on all nonsense, fighting the
Yeah.
ADF. But the ADF or the AGOFC, they are made up of people with track record, those who have had personal pains as far as this Amazonian struggle are concerned. People who have gone to the prison, to the La Republic torture chambers and come back. People who have tested the bitter beans, you know. That is why we are still standing. If not, this struggle would have crumbled
Yeah.
from day one. It could have crumbled. And
Well,
that is why you had one La Republic professor who said over is it what this their television long time ago, I think
Canal
2 or 3 years
Canal
ago. He said Paul Biya should be very thankful or hopeful that Ambazonians do not buy the principles and philosophy of the guy they call Dr. Cho Ayaba, like Paul Biya will beg to stop this war. But did Ambazonians hear? They will think that maybe the guy is working with us,
Rocky.
or they think, in fact, we are full of shit.
I
Sometimes
know.
when I sacrifice, I ask myself, who really am I sacrificing for? Is it for these guys who are still alive or the unborn? I just think that I'm doing it for those who have not yet born, or the
Oh,
kids that are coming tomorrow. That is why I'm still working with this thing. If not, if it is for these yam heads, I'm seeing now calling doctors and Amazonians and what, I would have stopped. But it is for those who are coming tomorrow, and for those who have died under my command, those who have
right.
died working with me, those who have died before me, that I'm doing what I'm doing. But many of them have no one that I've fought with that have died. They have no, in fact, they don't have nothing that I can think about. I've
Yeah.
carried guys on my back with blood oozing, and we're running in the bush. Who from diaspora had gone down there to do that? But they
And
keep
you
on
know,
fanfare and media and shouting
yeah.
rubbish.
And we really appreciate the work that you all are doing. We appreciate what you're doing. We know, I think when people see the passion, if I go online and I have to watch anybody, when I see you online, I'm like, okay, this is a good show to watch, because I see the passion and how you've dedicated so much just to see that we have a free Ambazonia. And if I have to speak for most Ambazonians, we are so grateful for the work that you all have put into moving this struggle forward. But we have come to the end of our show for today. And before I close out, do you have any closing statements to make?
Thank you, Doctor. I have a closing statement for sure to make. And that closing statement is like a question that everybody should beat his or her mind with. I want all Ambazonians to ask themselves, if I am standing for Sako, for Ayok Tabe, or for Ayabacho Lucas, why am I standing behind the leader that I'm standing behind? Ask yourself, if you find an answer that is better than mine, stay behind your leader. Because I'll tell you for true that I'm standing behind Dr. Cho Ayaba because he's a revolutionary leader. Secondly, he's a motivational speaker. All revolutionary leaders must be motivational speakers. They can be people who can tell you to pick up a stone, and they tell you that that stone is an AK bullet, and you shoot a police with it, thinking that it's an AK bullet. That is a revolutionary leader. Those are the type of people that lead revolutions. I'm standing with him because I had been with him in ground zero, training guys and running in the same bush. I'm standing with him because when I was still back home in 1997, he was the Secretary General of the STYL. And in 1997, we came out and attacked military units in Ambazonia. I'm standing with him because in 2000, early 2000, he smuggled himself from Europe and came down to Ambazonia and met me, and some of us went down to the Atlantic state and blew up the Mongo Bridge. He was from Europe. And we know that Europeans, when they come, they have to be running with their coats and making yanga. He ran in the same bush, fell in the same mud, and hit in the same hood with us. I'm standing with him because in 2003, he smuggled himself again. No, 2004, he smuggled himself again, yet again, into Ambazonia. Met us in front of Nijon Fundi's house when I led a delegation of youth to talk to Nijon after the presidential election. He met us in front of Nijon's house, and that night we went to the Bafut Road, where we attacked the military post in Bafut Road and seized some materials. He, Dr. Cho Ayaba, was shot on the arm. That is why I fight with him. I'm fighting with him because we formed the AGOVC ADF together. I'm fighting with him because I'm always like the bulldozer for this Ambazonian struggle. When I go to any creek, any bush where if they pick me and hide me somewhere, nobody will ever know I existed. And I make up deals on how to buy materials, and I call him and say, he needs your signature or he needs your present. He do not ask me two questions. He flies to that place, to that same bush, and meets me there, and we do what we want to do. I fight for him because I know that he's somebody who fights too for other. I fight with him because he fights for me. I fight for him because I know he can die for me. I can die for him because I know he can die for me. I fight with him because I know that he takes risk. He's a risk bearer. I've not seen any other leader in this revolution who can take the risk this guy takes for what he believes in. There are political leaders out there, if they dream in the night that they have a plane and the plane is going towards West Africa, it's just a dream, and the wife don't get them up from that sleep, they'll collapse and die in that dream. But this is a guy who goes everywhere that there is something that he can get for the people. That is why I fight with him. If you have reasons why you fight with any leader, please spell them out. Juxtapose them with mine. If they are heavier than mine, stay with your leader. If they are not, please stop patching that boat with chewing gum. You are risking your lives and the lives of those who are still paddling the boat back home. Jump over to the boat that will ferry you to the shores, and we all shall be free. The Ambazonian struggle is done. It is finished. This is just the Ambazonians still delaying it. We are delaying it because we are too divided. It is time to preach peace. It is time to preach love. It is time to join a leader that has a vision and a roadmap, not because you love that leader, not because you love the person, not because the person is handsome or has got better coat, but because the person can lead you to the destination that you want to be. When you arrive at destination and that person stands for any election, don't vote that person if you don't like that person. But for now, it is not like or love. It is a war to live. Try to survive.
Amen.
Thank you so much.
Amen. So before you cut off, before you go, before the IT team gets you out, I wanted to share, just like you gave reasons for why you stand with Dr. Ayabacho Lucas. I also wanted to share that while you're there. Um, man, so many things that you have said, I absolutely 100% align with those things for the reasons why I stand with Dr. Ayabacho Lucas. Um, and that, I've never, the moment I discovered Dr. Ayabacho Lucas, I've never blinked. Some people, because you don't see me, people think that, I am, well, nowhere to be found. I'm not within the age of say, hey, there is, when it comes to this, our war of liberation, there is nobody I will stand with but Dr. Ayabacho Lucas. And one of the main reasons, I go by the policy of kindness. Okay, I believe I I live my life by being kind, and I know people that are kind. And Dr. Ayabacho Lucas is one of the most kindest and pure heart people that I know. And this is because, and that is why they always tell people that do not judge people by the cover of what you see. You
What
have
you
to
see
know,
inside.
yeah, you have to know people to be able to judge them or to be able to know who they truly are. The moment I came to know who Dr. Ayabacho Lucas is, there is nothing you can tell me. I have this argument all the time with family members, with friends that want to derail my thought process when it comes to the leadership of this war of liberation. But I tell them it is not going to happen. Dr. Ayabacho Lucas, and like I said, the one most important thing for me is kindness. Dr. Ayabacho Lucas is a kind person. When you see the way he talks to people, when you see the way he relates to somebody's problem, or people's, especially those
He's not abusive like me. Even when you abuse him, do it. What? He
right,
comes again. He still calls you Mister or Doctor. I'm
yes,
like, what is this guy doing?
that is humility. That is just, I mean, it's rare to find humility, especially amongst Africans, especially amongst us Africans, because of the way we grew up. But Dr. Yabacho Lucas is just from another planet. And believe me or not, this man is kind. This man is humble. Even when he's being insulted and his image is being tarnished, he still comes back and he's
I'm
still
telling you.
talking good, being nice. So that for me, that is my number one reason. That kindness to me plays a huge part in human existence, because I believe that we have to be kind to each other regardless. We have to be able to support each other regardless of what we are going through. I don't care who you are, what you are. Kindness, humility, those are the two most important things. And Dr. Yabacho has those characteristics. And I love this man for who he is. I love him for who he is. There is no way you will see me blink when it comes to Dr. Yabacho Lucas. And that is why every single time, if I am needed, as much as I am not I'm in the back these days, but when I am needed by the A of C,